been on recognition from the perimeter guys. And he can also continue to do a good job because obviously that's going to be part of the opposing team's scouting report now. And I think to be a really good post player, you can only let that guy play you one way. You can't let him play you three-quarter, then front, and move around a little bit. And I think he does a pretty good job of sealing that. And the other thing he has is he has great patience in the post. And so it's not like he has to get the ball on that first side.
Coach stopped, I guess, midway through the second half there and kind of told him to pick up the defense on both ends. What did you see after that? And did you see everybody digging in a little bit more defensively?
No question. In order for our team to have the success that we want to have, they've got to play together on both ends of the floor. And I think sometimes any team can get caught playing defense, but you have to get stops. Is that what your intent is, to get stops? And when we do that and have that focus, we play much better as a team defensively.
What did you think, Tim, of your passing, especially in the open court when guys are running, flashing up to the free throw line, that kind of thing?
Well, I think anytime we get into our offense quickly and in transition, when we change sides of the floor with the ball, then the defense has to go from strong side to help side, and you have an opportunity to break them down. And that's when you can get those drives or you can get those post feeds. And obviously now we've got more guys that can stretch the floor, so we make the defense have to cover more of the floor.
Christian was really active in both ends. I mean, I know he had a little bit of an injury. Where's he at? And it seems like he's pretty much back to full go. Is that fair to say?
I don't think there's any question about that. He's kind of picked up where he left off in the spring when he did a great job of working with us. And now it's a matter of getting his stamina back. But what I saw him do today was he really fought through the fatigue, which I think all players have to do. But I thought he did a really good job of that and maintained that energy that he has to have to be a really good player for us.
Any concern that even though it's just a scrimmage, you still had some big men that were getting whistled for a lot of fouls?
Yeah, I think you can point to those things as to how to get better and clean it up. Probably the biggest thing with Cody is showing his hands. He's not going to be able to put his hand on a guy's back or anything like that, especially when he drives. His first movement can't be with his hand. It's got to be with his feet. But I think he was put in situations today where he's not going to do a lot of that, but it's a teaching point that he can improve on.
Matt Roth got a lot of threes off. I think he was like 5 of 7. Is that something where, just him being open, being able to have a quick release, or something where the defense maybe a little slow rotating?
Well, I think Coach says it all the time as far as Matt's concerned. He gets lost in the game. And when that ball's moving around and defenses have to rotate and collapse, whether it's in the post or it's off the dribble drive, Matt can get lost on that perimeter. And as you well know, if the defense starts to come out on him quickly, he can just keep stepping back. So he has pretty much unlimited range, and he can stretch the floor that way. And I thought he did a really good job of that at times today.
He seems to have really picked up his game. Can you talk about what you're getting from him, what you need to get from him?
I would say that Sheehy's game is picked up as his swipe card back has worn out. He's in that gym 24/7 working on his game. I think he's expanding his game. I think that he and Victor and Jordan have led the way for a while with that, and now all the other guys are starting to come in and work extra, and you can see his body changing a little bit. And I think Coach Jackson's done a really good job with all of those guys. Corey Barnett had a dunk today in warm-ups, so I think all those guys are getting stronger, more explosive, so we're making some progress.
Tim, what did you think of the way Christian and Cody played together when they were in that same group?
Very well. I think you've got two guys with high basketball IQs that know how to play, and Coach does a really good job of putting our guys in situations where we don't really have positions, we have principles, right. And so he puts them in situations where we have good spacing, and then when we move the ball and we see those cutters and we cut hard, those guys have a way of finding each other. And one of the things we've got to keep getting better at in cleaning up is not trying to force things as much, because there are some times where we're trying to get that ball in the middle of the lane when the defense collapses, and if we just swing it and kick it out, then we can go back inside with it. And I think we'll get that recognition with the more film that we watch.
What kind of role is Austin kind of carving out for himself?
Well, I think Austin is really carving out a versatile type role where he can play out on the wing, he can be the trailer in the break. I think a lot of it's going to depend on his ability to defend some different positions, but he stretches the floor. He doesn't play like a freshman, and I think he can really shoot the basketball. And when he gets that rhythm and those guys get him shots and find him, he answers.
That second half, you kind of went with a different unit in the score. Were you trying to get the first 6 or so to really learn how to come back? Was there a strategy to that second 15?
That isn't necessarily what we had talked about, but I'm sure that was a situation where that red group had to fight out of a a deficit, but then also the white team had to battle there for a while, and I thought that we did until right there at about the 2.5-minute mark or so where we kind of broke a little bit. But I thought they fought back into it when they got refocused and started defending and taking care of the ball.
You started 2 weeks ago. How much improvement have you seen in Zeller in these past 2 weeks?
I would say that he's starting to get better and better with understanding the physicality of the game at this level and what he can and can't do, and also really just working in the post with maybe having a go-to move and a counter move, and I think he keeps getting better and better at that. But I think the biggest things are defensively, the speed of the game, and he's probably guarded a lot more bigger guys in practice every day than he ever has in high school. I used to see him chase around 6-foot post guys. So I think that's changed a little bit for him. But I think he's a smart enough player where he adapts to things. And the one thing that he does is you tell him something one time and it usually sticks.
One more for Coach Buckley, please. One more.
What's it mean to have Elston back playing at the level that he is? He had a dunk. Last year he didn't have that kind of athleticism. He seems to be moving better. Just talk about what you see with him and what he can bring in general.
Well, I think health, number one, more of a confidence, more of a belief in himself. Defensively is where I think he's got to keep getting better for us, especially with defending maybe different positions. When he has to defend maybe a true center, he's got to utilize his quickness and his athletic ability more, and he's got to move his feet, get out on the floor and help with those pick and rolls, because we'll see a lot of pick and rolls, and he's got to get better with that type of defense. But I see that improvement on a day-to-day basis with him.
Everybody played, and the key was you saw different guys sharing the ball to each other and making easy plays. Whenever you share the basketball, something easy is going to happen, and there can be times you can overshare it, but that's a good problem to have. And I thought our all of our guys, and it's even something like Jeff Howard, that who was a walk-on last year for us, that's now walk-on again this year. Guys get on him that he shares it too much, that he's got to make his shot when he's got it in there. But I think that was, something I hope our fans really enjoyed watching. There was some really pretty, I think when you share the basketball, it makes what I call pretty plays. Just the ball moves, layup. And that's what basketball people like to watch.
Right. What do you think of the way Watford and Zeller looked when they were out there together?
Well, I think, again, we're all getting used to each other, and I think that's why for our fans, for our new guys, this was a great event, because every time we can get out there in a game-like environment and start to experience that, again, Christian and Cody are going to have to learn to play together. Austin Etherington's going to have to learn how to figure out where guys, and come from and where they're going to pass it to him at. So I think, I thought all of our guys, for changing the lineups and even changing at halftime, did a pretty good job of adjusting to who they were playing with.
What was the goal there at halftime? Put one team down?
Are you the only guy who gets to ask a question? What was that?
What was the goal there at halftime? You guys put one team down and make the red team make a comeback?
Yeah, and those are things Coach does in practice every day. We'll put a team up by 8 with 2 minutes to play, and you're trying to protect the lead. The other team's trying to come back. Just trying to make it as game-like as you can so guys can learn that, one, it's a long game. Don't ever think you're out of it. And then can you get it back but then build on it? And, I think that's something this team's going to have to learn to do over the course of time.
What do you need from Sheehy? You seem like you're getting quite a bit from him so far. What do you need to get?
Well, I think, what we need from him is what we need from Vic, we need from Christian, we need from all of them. High energy, going to the glass, rebounding it, and making simple basketball plays. Again, I thought tonight Will passed up a couple shots where he tried to throw it, inside, tried to make another pass that probably got him in trouble, or he would have made the shots. And so I think, again, we need that high energy. That's what our fans have grown to expect out of him, and that's what he's got to bring every second he's on the court.
Is this team anywhere near where it needs to be defensively?
Oh, I don't think you're ever where you need to be defensively. I think you could play 32 games and still watch the film and say we could be better in these areas. But it's something we're stressing every day in practice that we've got to continue to build on and grow at and be better at. And there's no question, you watch us, our weak side is way better. We're rotating, we're getting there, and so but no, it's not close to where we need it to be yet.
I know a lot of people talk about Cody being an inside presence, but what does he need from his teammates in terms of spacing and in terms of maybe creating room for him down low, not letting people collapse down on him offensively?
Well, and again, I think that comes back to just all of us getting used to playing with each other and knowing, okay, we've got a guy down there that is probably going to demand a double team. And so how can I create space for him? How is he going to get the basketball out of there and make a team pay for doing that? And those are both parts got to be learned. One, what we do to help him as players on the court, and then what he does to make a per team pay that is going to go double him. How does he get out of that double? And that just comes with experience.
Speaking of Cody, it seemed like Elston did a pretty good job in the second half, post defense, looked better than he did last year. Was that, more Elston improving or Cody, having something to work on before playing in the Big Ten?
Well, I think Derek, I've had 2 or 3 people walk up to me already, fans that were like, boy, it was fun to see Derek look like he's moving. He got a dunk. A year ago, he couldn't do that. We all know that. He couldn't have went up and dunked that basketball if he wanted to. And so, and like everybody, Derek's taken that challenge of, I gotta help Cody be better. I gotta guard him better. And again, the fun part for us is you don't even have Tom Pritchard out there on the court, who's a 4-year player and understands how to play in the Big Ten also. So, as we get Tommy back, then that's even going to, help Cody and Derek and all those inside guys even better.
Coach Buckley talked about how he thinks that Cody's spent more time since he's gotten here guarding big men than he ever did in high school. Just never saw a lot of real tall guys, real big guys. I mean, where have you seen the change in him defensively because he's got Pritchard and Elston and just more big bodies to go against?
Well, I think where you see the change in him, and again, if you notice, we had him out on the perimeter handling the basketball, driving the basketball. And Coach Green has always done this. If you study his big men he's had, they're going to be inside-out players, and that's what Cody's going to be. He's going to be an inside-out guy, and yet he's also got to do that on the defensive end, and that's probably one of the bigger adjustments for him, having to go out on the perimeter and guard a 6'7", 6'8" guy who can put it on the ground. Hey, when he has to guard Will and Vic and guys like that, if he can get to the point he can guard those guys on the perimeter, then there isn't going to be a lot of guys he can't guard in this league or in the country.
Austin averaging double figures. Is he even producing in practice as well as we saw a little bit today from offensively at least?
Well, I think he's like a lot of our guys. He just gets better. He's getting better every day, and he's getting more comfortable every day. And, young guys go through a growing process where everything's coming at them so fast that their mind's just spinning. Now I think for Austin it's starting to slow down, and he can see the game, and he can see where his shots are going to come from. And now it's allowing him to get there and be able to know they're going to get it to me when I'm wide open, and all I got to do is step up and make it like I've done my whole career. And he looks really comfortable out there right now.
One more for Coach McClain.
How hard is that with young guys just to get them to trust the most basic things that maybe they probably trusted their entire careers, and then all of a sudden they get to college?
Well, it's hard for them early because the speed of the game seems so different. And, if you talk to guys that go on to the NBA, what do they tell you? The speed of the game is so much different. And so that's what every young kid in the country is adjusting to right now, is the speed of the game. So how do I now take what I did in high school and adjust it to this level? And that's what Remy and Austin and Cody are learning to do every day, and they're going to get better at it every day.
Thanks a lot, Coach.